Hey everyone, this is Wade from fishfindermounts.com, and this is one of our mounts that we use for our flow tubes. But this video is not so much about this mount as it is about the unboxing and the assembly of the Lowrance Elite 4X Chirp. Now I know I'm a little late to the game here for this video because this product's been out for a while. We actually reviewed the Elite 4X, and then we reviewed the Elite 4X HDI. That was the version of product prior to the Chirp version. People are probably wondering, or there's probably many people that are wondering, like, what's this Chirp? What's that all about? And if you don't know what that is about, Chirp is basically a multi-frequency scan, so it's not just sticking at one scan like in the traditional fish finders. You would select a frequency to ping at, and it would keep pinging at that same frequency. Whereas this, it's alternating frequencies, and then out of those frequencies, it can build a much clearer picture of what you're looking at on the bottom. But anyways, I'm going to pull this guy out here, the Lowrance Elite 4X Chirp, so you guys can see what that looks like out of the box. We'll just pull this apart. This is the first time I'm opening it up here, so you can see what it looks like here inside. That's what it's going to look like when you get it, if you decide to buy it. I like this format for our flow tubes. This mount I was showing at the very beginning of the video here is actually one of our mounts for our float tubes. This is our U2 product, and it gives you everything you need to mount and power your fish finder. In this case, it's going to be the Elite 4X. So the battery's in here. It's got a 360-degree swivel plate, a bunch of hole patterns in here that you can, this is an older plate, but we've got the newer ones have tons of different hole patterns, and you can put all the different fish finders, including this one, on here without having to drill your own holes. But if you do ever get a newer finder coming out and we don't have the hole in the library yet, the hole pattern, this material drills really nicely, and you can actually drill out your hole pattern yourself just by selecting a drill bit that's slightly smaller than the screws that you'll be using. You can use the screws here. We also include screws with our kits, supplementary screws if you decide you don't want to use the ones in the package for whatever reason. It's complimentary to make sure that you do have something just in case you have an older finder and you've lost the screws or whatever. But anyways, here comes the Elite 4X control head mount in the paper trays. These are nice because they protect the product really well, and protect the environment. We're all fishermen, so we love the environment that we fish in, so we want to protect that. We'll just put that bag there. So that's the control head there. You know, I've had the Elite 4X and then the Elite 4X HDI. We've had it, and now this is the Elite 4X Chirp. This sonar control head is basically the same thing. It's got a lever on here. It's a little bit squeaky, this one. So that you can easily eject it off the actual mounting post. I'll show that closer here. You can see. So that's kind of a nice feature. That's a very nice feature. They do a good job of that. So if you want to quickly get your control head off at the end of the day and bring it up to you, bring it up with you to base camp, or break your stuff down easily, you can do that very easily with their products and our products. Here's the transducer mount, the transducer I should say, itself. There you see, this is their actual, I think this is the HDI one, same as the HDI one that we had in the HDI product. It's the same size. You can tell what part number it is that you have. This is the FAXDCR HDI version. You can tell by these silver labels, and they've got the part number on here. So if you want to know which one that you got in the package, you can refer to this label, and that will tell you. And you can look it up on Google. Just put these numbers into Google, and then it'll tell you about the transducer as well if there's not enough information in here. A fuse package and all of that. You don't need this with our product, but when you're going into a boat with alternators and all of that kind of stuff, you may want to have the fuse on there. Probably a good idea. And then here's the power cable here. It comes stripped. The wires do. This one's a little bit mushed for some reason, so that's not so nice, but you can fix that up and tidy that up. Just two conductors. Some of the fish finders you get, the bigger ones, they'll come with other cables out, which are NMEA cables that are like, so you can slave it to another unit and be able to see the same thing on all the screens that you've got in your boat. You might have multiple screens. Again, part number if you want to reorder this power cable. And then what we have here is we've got some plugs that you can cap off the back here. Not sure why. You wouldn't need that with our product likely. And we've got the mounting post here. We'll open that up right now actually. This is the same one they've been using for quite some time. It's no difference, I can see. So on this, I had this on this product recently, the HDI version, which is the same thing physically. So you can see actually in this, the swivel mounting plate here from fishfindermounts.com and Flow Tube Fanatics that I've actually tapped into these holes here. And those are the holes, in fact, that you can see already. They're lining up because it's not moving around. Even though I've tilted it, so indeed those holes line up perfectly, and those are the holes for this mount, of course. So I'll put that on there for you guys to see what it looks like on our mount as well, as sort of like a bonus part of the video. The fish finder itself is quite light. Oh, by the way, I should say the swivel post actually does, or this post does swivel. They're not the slickest swiveling ones. The Garmin Echo has the nicest swiveling base on the market that I've found, but this still does the job. It's kind of stiff and tough to swivel. Of course, if you have it on ours, that's no issue because ours swivels really nicely. Taking the transducer, and I'll just pull this apart here. You have to actually mount the transom style of transducer mount, like a post or feature or physical apparatus, whatever you like to call this. It slides on with grooves. Dragonfly, the Raymarine Dragonfly 5 DVS, which I just recently reviewed as well, has the same way of going about this. If you hit something, probably this will bust and not this. Whereas before they were all molded in one piece together, now this just busts, so you can replace this. Is probably what the whole design is for. In fact, I'm quite certain that's what it's for. But what you do is you actually, with the grooves, you can see grooves here, mating grooves. These are female grooves, these are the male grooves. You would take this and you're going to slide this on here and it'll snap in. You can see it coming together here now. I hope the camera's nice and close here, and you're going to hear it snap in a sec. Here we go. There you go. It's snapped together. Now you're not going to get this off. That's it. You're done. I'm not sure how to get it off exactly. I'm sure there is a way. Like I say, if it breaks, then you can replace it. I know you can buy these parts aftermarket. And then they've got the stainless steel hardware if you want to mount it on your transom. We have some really awesome products that take care of this for you as well. They're much more fancy. They're based on a magnetic design so that you don't have to drill holes in your boat, or even if you're drilling holes in your boat, it still allows you to take, we have a bolt-on magnetic transducer mount now. The purpose of that is you can still remove your product off of your boat very easily within a second or two. And then you can also, obviously, it helps to save your transducer from damage as well. So if you do have an older style transducer or one that's fully molded together, it'll save that. Some of these transducers have they're mounted with metal brackets now with screws in them, so I could see those ones busting. So there you have the Lowrance Elite 4X Chirp. Now the Elite 4X, X is it's their base model, and what that means is there's no GPS and all of those kinds of fancy features. I'm just going to be putting this, and here's all the assembly instructions by the way. I'm just going to be putting this on my flow tube. That's all I'm going to do, and I don't need, like, you're not covering a ton of ground with a flow tube, so you don't really need a GPS or anything like that on your flow tube. So this is the base model. So this gives you all the sonar capabilities that you could ever want, and it's a small, nice, neat, tight package here. And we are going to take a moment here, and I'm going to show you how to put this on our flow tube mount, all-in-one universal flow tube mount that gives you everything you need to mount and power your fish finder straight out of the box. And I've got here our U2 float tube mounting kit. The battery is built in, integrated right in here. We've got the swivel plate. We've got the Elite 4X Chirp out of the box here. And I've just done an unboxing, and I've done a little bit of an assembly with the transducer. We've got the power cable here. It's the red plug. On the other side, there's a transducer. It matches up with the blue plug. The nice thing with the Lowrance stuff too is it's screw-on plugs. They're the only guys that are doing this, them and Ray Marine and the popular manufacturers. Humminbird and Garmin, they have press fit ones, and that's not as good. Because this actually is nice because it acts like a tether. If your transducer ejects off your boat or whatever, this will be screwed to the back of your fish finder, and it will act like a tether so it doesn't come off and rip off and fly away and sink in the water, and then your transducer is gone. So we're going to take this guy. I've got my handy dandy crimpers, and when you get our product with this quick connect cable, and this quick connect is really an upgrade at this point in time. So if you get this product with this cabling system, you can see it's a quick connect. We call it a quick connect. So here's the power cable coming out. There's a charger we have. I don't have it right in front of me, but ultimately what will happen is the charger has the same plug. It'll just plug right in here, so you can charge it without opening the 4 screws off the battery box and taking it out. And then it has this other custom cable where these are called butt splice or maybe bullet connectors or something. They're here as well, and this you actually splice right on to your fish finder power cable right here. So we'll crimp that together here. I just want to make sure that the cable ends are tidy so that when you stick it in here it's going to get a good contact. So we've got it in there into the butt splice. It's already crimped on the one side for expedience sake. I'm going to take my nice professional crimpers. You may not have something. You may use the back of some pliers in a pinch or whatever to get this squished on there. That's what your goal is, to squish it together. And I'm going to crimp down on that. So now it's all together. Now you could even solder if you want to get fancy. You could solder things together. You should twist the wires together before you're soldering it. Maybe tin it first, twist, and then solder. And then I'm going to take this cable here, same thing as before. I'm going to stick it into the butt splice. You'll get this if you buy our Quick Connect upgrade charging kit, and we'll drill the battery box for these special cables as well. So it's just a really nice convenience feature for you guys out there. And we're going to crimp that guy on there, and now she's all together. Now if I was in the shop, I'd have my tester here and make sure that we've got good continuity, good connection. So before I hook this up, I'm going to take the fish finder base, and I'm going to put this on the base here. Now I want it so it comes out. You can see there's an angle, natural angle here. This is angled, the female slot here, and this is already tilted. Now this will tilt up and down, but we'll just push that on. It snaps kind of together. To take it off, you can just do this. You just pull on this handle and it just should come off. This one's a little stiff for some reason. It's the stiffest one I've had. It's kind of squeaky too. Take this guy off again. We get our little screw package out. I like our screws for these finders onto our bases. Here's ours here. They're smaller, but they work great. It's more than enough for just a float tube mount. Take my handy dandy drill here, my cordless driver, whatever you like to call that. And we'll just take that. I've already lined it up here. Make sure your torque, if you're using one of these, is set to maybe the lowest or very close to the lowest torque, because you don't want to stress anything more than it needs to be stressed, but you want it to be fully seated as well. So that's good. So we'll get these all in place. You might not tighten them all down at once. You might keep them slightly loose first and make sure everything gets in. So I'm going to loosen this one off a little bit because that's usually the best practice. There we go. So these swivel plates of ours are fairly thick actually. They're quite a few centimeters thick, and then of course there's ribs here actually, so that if your screw does penetrate through, there's still even more room before it starts to hit the top of the battery box here, battery box platform. So in this case the screws didn't even come through the holes at all. So that's nice, and it's on there nice and firm and tight, strong. So we've got the base post on there, and we're going to take the fish finder and mate it up again with the post. It snaps on. Probably want to tilt it up when we're in the water there. It just tilts up and down. There's no like thing you have to screw down it's actually really nice actually the way they've done that. Feels good. And so here we have the power cable that we did. So we're going to do a power up here. So we take the power cable in the back of the product here, and I'll just swivel it around so you guys can see. I'll tilt it up here. See what that looks like. So there's two major posts here. You can see they've got the grooves in the connector itself as well. So you should be able to flawlessly match that up and not get anything wrong. In Japan they call that poke yoke, where they're designing cars so that they're basically designing out and making it error proof or dummy proof, if you will, idiot proof. Anyway, so that's on there. The power cable's on. We'll turn this way so you guys can see this thing when it powers up. We're going to plug it in to the fishfindermounts.com of Flow Tube Fanatics 2.9 amp hour float tube mounting kit that attaches to your float tube all in one strap on any float tube really. I use the Outcast Super Fat Cat LCS myself when I'm fishing, and that's what I'll be using this weekend coming up. And we're going to turn her on. And there she goes. Now, one thing I noticed with these products, I was hoping that they would have improved it. I just kind of powered it up before I'm showing you here on the video, but with the HDI it was the same thing. To power these things on, it takes these things take quite a while to start up, which is kind of that's one thing I don't like about them. It's a bit of a disappointment. What I would suggest when you are actually using the product on the water and you want to power it down, I wouldn't power it off. I'd put it into standby. I'll show you what standby looks like here in a short little bit. Once it's gone through its wake up mode, you can see it's still working and just in the display mode itself. So we've got this guy powering up. It's in demo mode right now and it's running. But I want to show you when you are on the water and you want to power it off, don't power it off. Hit standby here. This is a really a very, very handy and convenient feature. What it does when it's in standby, and all Lowrance products I've used in the last 3 or 4 years, they have the same feature. All the generations that I've used of the Elite 4X, you go into standby by hitting and selecting. When you hit the power button, it'll come up with this little menu. You choose standby by hitting enter, and it'll keep pinging the transducer. It'll keep running the transducer, but the thing that sucks the most energy in these fish finders is the screen. So if you want to preserve your battery power for as long as you possibly can, maybe you're going to be fishing for a couple days and you want to find spots, and then once you're dialed into the fish, then you don't need your fish finder anymore. Just hit standby, put it on standby. We'll do that right now. Enter. And what happens is you just turned it off. What's the difference? No, actually I haven't, because it's still pinging the bottom, and when I want to go, it's putting into this like sort of like defunct or like screensaver mode or what have you, where it's not using the backlight. So that saves a ton of energy actually. And when I want to go again, all I do is hit enter, and immediately it comes back on as though it wasn't even off. So it still sees what it's seeing on the bottom because the transducer's been pinging all along. Whereas if you power it off, you have to go through all that power up stuff again. So yeah, I would advise taking advantage of that power standby mode on these products. I think it's a really great and handy feature. I wanted to show you too, in our battery box platform here, where the battery's inside here, we've got these cable holes, cable slots, cable ties. It'll accept cable ties like this. Common, you can get them in your hardware store, and you can put them through these strap slots. And you can take, now these are a little short, I don't have the long ones we usually provide with our product here with me tonight, but you would take that, and because these have so much darn cable, you've got these cables here, these slots, so that you can actually tie your cables right up. They're too short unfortunately, but you'll tie them right up nice and tight against the battery box, so now you can in effect make this extraordinarily portable and together in all one unit, it would look like this. And you can see our other videos on our channel here to see what that looks like. I apologize for not having the longer cable ties, but anyways, they're black and they go through and they'll tie up all of this excess cabling that you don't need. And I'll just show you our transducer mount. This is our float tube transducer mount, or pontoon, or whatever, pontoon transducer mount. It's a strap-on variety. We also have magnetic transducer mounts as well. I'm not showing that in this video here, but they work conceptually the same. But for pontoons or float tubes, you want to put it on the side, your transducer on the side of your float tube or your pontoon, where it's just underneath the surface of the water. That's all you need, so you can get an accurate measurement from the very surface of the water, top of the water, all the way down. So we're just going to put, this acts like an aperture, so it's fully universal. An adjustable aperture is what I'm trying to say here. So you can see it opens and closes to whatever dimension the actual transducer is. So you can see the nub here on the Lowrance Elite 4X Chirp transducer. And we're just going to take this guy, we're going to pop it on here, pop this guy over top, and you can see it adjusts to the actual transducer dimension itself, so it's universal. So if you have Marine Dragonfly, or you've got the Humminbird series of any kind of fish finder that they've got, the Lowrance ones, the 5Xs, the Marks, whatever they have, this will adapt and support those transducers flawlessly. It's awesome. It's a great product, makes your life really easy. So when this is on your float tube, oops, touching some buttons here. When this is on your float tube, it's wrapped around your float tube, you would be looking at it like this, off to your right or your left, depending on what casting arm you like using. You want that on the opposite side of the casting arm. You have all your cables nicely and neatly tied up into here, and your transducer on the strap is wrapped all in one strap, again wrapped around your pontoon. You can see this circular formation here that it would be around, and of course this would be in the water of the transducer. I should show you this way, like so. So this is Wade from fishfindermounts.com and Float Tube Fanatics, showing you the Elite 4X Chirp out of box, pulling it out of the box, and then the assembly of the product itself, and then onto one of our mounting systems. In this case, it's the U2 Float Tube mount. This will run one of these fish finders all day long. As I said, this is Wade from fishfindermounts.com and Float Tube Fanatics, doing the Elite 4X Chirp unboxing and assembly. Thanks for watching, everyone. Give us a call at 1-855-784-3474 with any questions you may have. If you're interested in our mounts, we'd love to get you into a mount that makes all fish finders portable, easily installable on whatever kind of boat you've got, small fishing vessel, and just so much so that you can just forget about your fish finder and how you're going to put that in your boat and concentrate on what you love, and that is fishing. Thanks for watching, everyone.